Right, Fags just have some exciting news overnight. What is it?
Yeah, well, for the first time, I think since 2010, our membership got to the $26,000 mark. So $26,000. What am I talking about? 26,000 mark, which is absolutely fantastic. And to celebrate it, the club's put together these little muffins, and they're going to share that with all the supporters that are here this morning to say thank you, and you members of the media. So 26,000 is great, and hopefully we can continue to grow.
How exciting.
No worries. Thank you.
You're going to have a few more than that here tomorrow night, Fags. How do you expect your players to cope with what's going to be a new occasion for a lot of them?
Yeah, well, we've been used to having a pretty loud crowd here all year. It's been very Lions biased, and I think it'll be that case tomorrow night, except there's just going to be more. We got good practice last week playing at the MCG where there were 50,000 people, probably 45,000 of those are Essendon supporters. So tomorrow night will be a little bit more weighted in our favour. So we'll learn from last week and look forward to the occasion and try and play well to get our crowd involved in the game.
Do you soak up the occasion? Do you tell them to embrace it? Or?
Absolutely. Got no other choice. Yep.
There's a lot of markers that people have put on you and you guys yourself on the field, but that's a real marker of the growth of this team, isn't it? That sort of crowd building. Yeah,
I guess I think the crowd for the Collingwood game last year here was about 22,000. So this year it's going to be around 34-ish thousand. So yeah, there's a few more people interested in the way that we're playing and the brand that we're playing, and credit for that goes to our players who have had to get out in the field and do it.
Do you know how many tickets are left?
I've no idea, except I think there's only sort of single tickets or something like that available. I'm not a ticketing expert, but that's what I've been told this morning.
How many have you been roughly?
Sorry?
How many have you been here?
Not too many. A few family members up for Easter, so that's good to have along. That's unusual.
Would you like to make this a permanent fixture, Collingwood, Brisbane, Easter Thursday?
Oh, I think it'd be fantastic. I mean, there's a few permanent fixtures in the AFL. Anzac Day is one of them. We'd certainly like to be part of those opportunities, and so tomorrow night our performance is really important in that regard, but we'd love to have that as a regular event.
What do you learn from Essendon?
That you've got to be on your game every week. They are really on, and we're just a little bit off. It's every now and then it's good to get a reminder of that. We'd been up for 5 weeks if you count JLT, and it's been a long time since our club won 5 in a row. So there was just probably a little slip in our attitude and our application, and to Essendon's credit, they were really up and on the go, and we sort of got what we deserved in the first quarter. I thought we were pretty good after half-time. I think we had double the number of inside 50s that they had. We just didn't convert well those opportunities, but at the start, when the whips were cracking, we weren't quite ready, so we've got to be ready tomorrow night, and that's the main lesson.
You talk about crowds, but they managed to get their crowd going early last week.
Yeah.
And it seemed to have an effect. So can the same happen here, and how important is a good start to get them involved early?
Well, it's preferable than a bad start. We got a bad start against West Coast, and we're still able to find a way. And then against Port Adelaide, we got a great start. So we've done both at the Gabba. Our preference would be to get a great start, but we think as a team we're never out of it. So that's the way we'll roll with that.
So was it just an off weekend, or you've been up for 5 weeks? Is it?
No, it's if you haven't noticed, in the AFL competition, nobody's won every game that they've played. It's a tough competition, and it's a roller coaster ride, and it's all about your ability to respond to whatever happens to you the previous week. So whether that's a win or a loss, keep your equilibrium, learn from whatever happened the week before, and come out a better team the next week. So that's how we've approached this week, which is no different to the other previous weeks. So always lessons to learn.
It's probably something we asked last week, Fags, but your defensive setup, have you got any concerns about the matchups that you might be a little bit tall? Will that come into your selection at all?
No, because defence is all about the whole team. It's not about who the back six are. And in the games that we've won, we've played incredibly well up the ground to defend and make ball movement for the opposition difficult. We didn't do that well enough last week. We need to do it well tomorrow night.
The bench factor, I guess, you've got to ask about that. I saw Robbo on 360 last night suggesting that you should just shun him completely and pretend that you've never met him before. That's what a player should. What's your approach to playing against someone that the guys know so well and has such a history?
Well, we had Rocky up here a couple of weeks ago, and he was one of 22, and Dane's one of 22 tomorrow night. They've got a lot of great players, including him, and so we don't spend any more time on him than we spend on anyone else.
The midfield is probably in general is the key. Like I think you guys have done well. That's probably where it's going to be decided.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the champion data statistics, they'll tell you that Collingwood are the #1 midfield in the AFL. The West Coast midfield will rank pretty highly as well, so will the Port Adelaide midfield. So, we've been able to play against great midfields and match, if not beat them, and we look forward to that challenge. We know it's a big part of winning the game tomorrow night is how well we can do through that part of the ground.
Just following on what Muzz said, it's a bit ridiculous for someone like Robbo to suggest ignoring a guy like Beams with the history he has in his club, not shaking his hand, that sort of thing, considering the relationship a lot of these guys have with him. Robbo can say what he likes, I suppose. As I said, we'll just treat him as a normal player from the opposition. We'll shake hands before and we'll shake hands at the end. And what happens in between, well, that we ain't got no control over that, have we?
You've talked about sustain, or you've talked about the rebuild off the field. You've got a big crowd here today. But the way that the club's going about this time, do you feel like that there's going to be sustained success? That there's going to be a long period of time where the Lions are going to be able to have success on and off the field?
Well, that's what we're aiming for in the long term, but I will remind you that we've won 5 games 2 years in a row, and we're still fairly early in our rebuild, and it's going to be a year where we have ups and we have downs. But yeah, we're trying to build something that's sustainable in the long run. When that ultimately leads to the greatest success, I'm not sure, but we continue to build towards it every time that we come out to play.
How different do you think it will be now? I guess like with social media, compared to what happened, say, in the early 2000s, when it's so much success, and then do you think it's going to be different now with the way that the world is with various technology?
How do you mean?
Well, in terms of like a way you'll be able to get fans on board with the club and share insights that are happening around the place.
Oh, probably. I don't worry too much about that. I know if we keep performing well, the fans will keep signing up and they'll follow all the different ways that they can follow our footy club. So that's sort of the part that we can control, and hopefully that benefits the rest of the business.
I was just going to ask you about the rule changes. There's a lot of negativity saying it's a boring game, it's a low-scoring game. You've been up 3 times.
Yeah.
Is that the key, to be offensive, to have something different?
No, I think every game's different. It depends who you play against. Some teams, the game's more of a grind. Some teams, the game's more open. So your ability to score becomes more important. Against other teams, it's just your ability to tough it out and take your opportunities when they come. So it's a little hard. You look at, there were some high-scoring games last week and there were some low-scoring games, and that's always been the case. I mean, we sort of overanalyse it a bit, but if you look back at results over the last 50 years, you'll probably find the same thing, But we think we're going to make up some rules that change the game, but coaches and teams are pretty good at working out ways to get the game on their terms, and I think that'll continue to be the case for the next 100 years as well.